This is for the book lovers. Hi, I'm Nabwiri.
Hi, I'm Marcella.
Hi, I'm Washera.
And welcome to the Bookish Banter.
So today we'll be discussing Pretty Girls by Karin Slaughter. That was my pick of the month and my go-to recommendation book, which, as previously mentioned, is a 5-star for myself. So I'll just start by saying thoughts on the book. What's your rating? Let me know.
Yeah, it was a very good recommendation. I'll say that. I'll also give it a 5. It's a well-written book. It keeps you on your toes. You are suspicious through the whole book. Like you suspect you're not, when you think you're sure, you're not sure. You don't know
nothing.
You know nothing. Yeah, so it kept me on my toes. So I really liked that. I really liked how the characters were written. Yeah, it was a good book generally.
Okay. What about you?
Well, anyways, I'm joking. But the book was 5 for me, 5 over 5. And I still insist, guys, that's not my genre. but like it had like wow moments because I thought I knew. Like I thought it was like the most classical of books of crime. Like
yeah.
I know who's gonna do this, but no. The moment like you continue, there's a place that it picks and then goes, and you're like, what? Every moment I was like, wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought it was a great book, and the fact that the author continuously revealed these 2 sections very slowly, and then he decided, she decided to just go a wall and become not a wall, to just go like on this hill, this hill downwards of explaining and it was vivid, like a vivid description of crazy things that are going on in this book. It was honestly, let me tell you, top notch storytelling, top notch revealing of stuff. But for someone who is not open to like crime, murder, it has trigger things, murder, very vivid description of what is going on, brutality. I think maybe you can pause kidogo, but you can always read it, but you go in knowing that there is something you're gonna expect that is gonna trigger you for real.
Yeah.
It's not an
easy read.
Yeah, it's not an easy read, yes.
Yeah, and then it's something that I'd mentioned, like it's one of those books that you need to check the trigger warnings
fast,
because like once you get into it, like you're just going.
I had nightmares.
Really?
Yeah, like 2 or 3 nights after I read the book, after I finished the book, I was like, what is this?
What is happening?
When you sleep, like I'm seeing the whole, let me not reveal right now, but we're going to reveal later in the discussion, like seeing the whole Julia situation.
Yeah.
Yes. For 2 nights, I was like, I can't sleep with the lights off.
Right. I absolutely loved the book. For me, the first time reading it was like it got me out of like a reading slump because I was reading another book and then I was just not moving, and then like somebody, like a colleague, was sitting right next to me and that's what they were reading, and we read it like hand in hand, like when she's not, I'm reading it, and vice versa. And I liked how from the title you can't even guess where this book is going. What it's about.
Like what's
Pretty
girls.
Yeah.
I mean, could be anything.
Yeah, you might think it's like just one of those happy-go-lucky, we're just girls doing our thing. No, it's like so far away from the title. And I just love that you can't even guess where this is going, because coming into it, it's like, okay, this just looks like a happy couple. And that's what you think. And one of the things that I usually do with myself when reading a psychological thriller is sort of try and put yourself in like their shoes of, okay, because in this particular instance, this is a babe who's married to somebody for 18 years.
Yeah.
That's like a lifetime. And you're doing well and you're thinking, this is my man, the love of my life. And she said over and over again, I can't imagine my life without this guy.
He's the one who does everything.
Yeah.
Like small stuff, electrical, everything
so
to the letter.
And so loving. And then like one day he pulls you into an alley and you're thinking you're just about to have like, a risky night.
Okay.
You're like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
And then And and this guy is like, so he's such a straight line according to how you know him.
When he's off script,
exactly. And then you're just like, especially after 18 years, you're like, okay, this is a bit like out of character for you. But okay, I mean, like, we're spicing up our marriage. Let's see where this goes. And since I trust you, okay, fine, let's just see. Oh, this could be fun. And then the next thing you know, he's whispering into your ear. He's, he's being a little bit round, but you're like, okay,
this is it.
Yeah, and then suddenly you're being robbed, he's dying. It's like many things.
A lot of things happening at the same time.
Yeah, like you don't even have time to like think about this. And especially since he was such a pillar, the hubby, he's always the one who will have the solution. He's always the one who will calm you down, tell you what to do, and then suddenly you have to think for yourself, because what do you mean my husband of 18 years is dead? Yeah, so I think how the book was built up to us being introduced to this couple in the very beginning, to just them being able to, or rather the author being able to break down so many like big topics, like, okay, this is a happy couple, but where is this stemming from? This is because they did talk about like heavy topics like parents losing a child, like especially when you don't have that closure of what happened to my child. That was a big part of the book. And I loved the POVs of, we have her POV, who was Claire, and then we have the sister's POV, who was Lydia, and then we had like the dad's POV, where it's sort of like
letter, right?
In letters,
to Julia,
to her daughter. So like, I'll ask for you guys, like, what was your biggest shock factor? Because I know there's a lot. And like in the entire book, what part caught you where you're like, okay, I didn't expect that. I did not see that coming. I did not see you coming. What is it for you? So as as it marinates in your heads, I can just give like a breakdown of the book. This is a book, it basically stems from like loss, where it's a family of 3 daughters, father, mother, they're living relatively okay, and then one night their teen daughter, I think she was 18, 19, just goes missing. So they always say, like, when a child goes missing, like, people don't grieve the same, they don't handle situations the same. So they just tend to, especially the parents, you just have like different opinions, different ways of handling it. It's like a year, 2 years, you can't grieve because you've never found the body, but also you don't want to be the one who gave up on your daughter and said, liwe liwalo hii imeenda. So there's always that question mark. There's always you feel failure as a parent. So how do we cope? So the parents coped differently, the daughters coped differently. One went into drugs, another one just became a shell of herself. The dad was stuck on like solo investigation because he felt like the system failed. And the mom just didn't know, like she just completely checked out for a while, like she just stopped being a mom. And clearly from the book, that was literally just the beginning of just everything that happened. So yeah, biggest shock factor of the entire book, that you were like, wait, what? Excuse me?
Hold up.
Yeah. For me, I think it's the realization of the husband's involvement. What was his name? Paul, yes. The realization, because I really, really, really hoped.
You were rooting for him.
I was rooting for him. I was like, hey, nice guy. He, especially from how the wife described his part, his role in her life.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way. So now realizing like how big a role he played in the undoing of the family, I was like, no, this is crazy.
This is too much.
Yeah, this is too much. That for me, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah, because it all boils up to you, like, because you're thinking, like, I've trusted this person with my life. I've laid in bed with this person every single, like, literally sleeping, closing my eyes. You could have done anything to me. This is like such a big betrayal, because what do you mean? If you think about it, it means like even by the time like you were sort of courting me, dating me, wanting to marry me, like you've been lying every single day to me, and you knew when I'm crying about my sister,
you know
every
what
single
happens.
day, when I'm
you
telling
could
you
have
my
taken me out of
triggers,
this misery. Yeah.
you know, like as a family, like we never had that closure, but you just didn't tell me anything. You're just there comforting me, and it's like just putting yourself in that state of mind. It's like, what?
You also, so you killed my sister, and then you killed my dad, and then this whole time I was mourning and going through all these things. You could have taken me out of this misery this whole time, but you just wanted to feel good about helping me. That was so wrong of him.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then the fact that at that alley, like in the beginning, the alley scene when he was, you know, being risque, he whispered like the same words that he used to all
every
his
other
victims.
person.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the fact that he kept saying, I did this for us, like I had to die for us to save us, and then you realize there's no saving there. You dug this hole that we are now in, and then you looked for me just to. That's so twisted. Like you killed my sister, and then you inject yourself in my family to experience our suffering, like to see how much it hurt us.
And then he had such a savior complex because in his deluded mind, he really did think that they can flee away together and live happily ever after. And he knows, he even caused, because they were 3 girls, so it's Claire, Julia, and Lydia. And he knew he's the one who came between, like Lydia and Claire.
After having come between the whole family, and then you separate. But also that is something I feel like people who are I don't know how I can label him, but people like him do, like you separate somebody from the family, from the support system, so that they rely on you, and then they don't see how much they are hurting you.
That's so true, because like your family member, your friend who's really close will call it out and be like, this guy, he's doing a little bit too much, like why is he like that, why is he
but now if you rely on him, there's nothing you can do,
because even Lydia had mentioned a couple of times, but then who is believing Lydia?
Because at that point she was a junkie.
She was a junkie. Like, who's believing her? I mean, it means you just don't want me to have.
You don't want me to be happy. You're clearly jealous. And what do you mean you try to repeat? And then I feel like such people who know sort of like they're super two-faced. So like to you, I'm a monster, but to everybody, like they know how to paint themselves as a saint. Even when you tell somebody else, it's like, what?
So classy.
Paul.
So classy.
But also I like, because the parents, I feel like the dad picked up on it immediately. He was like, this guy is...
I mean, you can't be too good. You
can't
be
this good. So I think when he sensed that, he was like, hey, mission, eject this girl from here so that you can...
Hey, but
like everybody who saw it didn't see it to the degree that it was. So the dad saw it as, you're just not good enough for my daughter. You're a little bit too much, too pretentious, but you're just not it. I can see, like, he's those guys of, he wants to prove, like, I'm the one who has I got the girl. You know, because he was being a bit too touchy-feely with the dad, like, relax. There's things that you do in front of parents. It's like, relax, like, she's yours, you go home with her. You don't need to... He needed to assert himself as like the man in her life, and everybody must know. So it was like a bit too much. So like the parents didn't like him, but they didn't like him for different reasons. But their suspense wasn't like, of course, absolutely nobody could have thought this guy was as sick as he was. What was yours, Marcella?
For me, of course, Paul. I mean, Paul, yes. That's like, I have different like scenarios, and I was like, even like what I was annotating. I was like, what? I have so many of those pages. But I think also, just adding to what Moshera said, is when he just turned up to not have been dead. I don't know why deep down I thought, because he's a good guy, he would just have died, you know. But then, oh my God, you are not dead, right? Like, how much of a psychopath are you really?
And he intentionally wanted her to see him die.
Yes. Like, how can you make me go through... Do you know, like, it was so stressful for her. Like, she doesn't know anything. You know that she doesn't know anything. She doesn't know a lot of things about, you know, just like handling stuff and whatnot. Like, you've been her anchor for a long time. But then you just pull this.
And you know you're going to die. and you don't even help her set herself up, really,
Yeah.
because she
No,
was so
And then you just show up and you
This
the
is
fact that he
for the point,
punched
I
her
feel.
that day.
Yeah, even the fact that you chose to have, like, just seeing some, whether fake or not,
Yes.
it's seeing somebody die that I've loved and been with for 18 years. You want me to see that? Like that
what?
already is traumatic enough to
Yeah.
even
Oh
heal
my
from.
God.
And then the fact that this is, I want her to see it for her to believe it. Like, of course, to his sick head, he was like, yeah, this makes sense. If she sees it, then she'll be able to believe
Maybe
it.
understand.
And then,
Yeah. Also, Paul had this thing didn't start at he's been a psychopath since he was a child.
It's those people who
Is
were
it-
groomed.
Karibu, you call it something. That one for grooming. Karibu,
Yeah.
you call it something he picked from his dad.
He did pick it from
Yeah,
his
he
dad.
did, definitely.
Right? Like,
Because there's a point where he said he was
how
mad
can
at
you-
the dad
Yes, without
that
me.
he started.
He went to school and
the
came
kill
back.
before me.
My God.
And this is something you'd be mad at you'd be mad at your parent for any other, but because you
But
killed without me.
You found the baby like this and you're like, also you started the fun without me.
Imagine.
You guys are sick in the head.
And then it's honestly how the other. I feel like for me the shock factor was because to a point you're like, okay, fine, Paul is guilty, but you don't know to what extent Paul's guilty.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, fine. When he said it's like, okay, he has these tips. Because initially she was like, okay, fine, he has.
He's the one who's distributing.
You can't be distributing.
Not
Not
even
even distributing.
distributing.
You're thinking maybe he's just into like this weird porn.
Yeah.
Maybe he just, those weird people.
Which is okay.
And then you're swallowing it, you're like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But this looks a little bit too real. You're like,
my
okay,
God.
maybe he's distributing. Every time she had like a maybe, it's like, no, he's
Surprise.
doing a little bit more.
Surprise.
And then she's saying, because she was stuck on like the 3 moles that he has on his back. Like, kama ni mgongo
Haiko.
yake, I know it. I know his back. She's like, this is not. And even he asked, he's like, I would never. Oh my
And
gosh.
really it was so, because he was so vanilla with her, and there's no issue with that.
Yeah.
Until like the alley and the words that he said, that's
Yeah.
like also triggered, like piqued her interest, like, you've never.
Today ni nini kwani?
You've never been like this. And then the fact that he was actually watching her watch like the news of like other missing girls. He was
Even the girl that he knows very well, he has already killed.
You know where she is.
Yeah.
You even
I feel like
visit.
that time when he was late. Oh no. Yeah, that was explained. Yeah, he wasn't killing her at that point. He had been called by the detective. Yeah.
at
But
that
the
time
fact
she was very much alive still.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a bulb moment. Can I? When this 3 million that he was told he stole from the company, he knew that what's his name? He was Alex.
The best friend. Yeah, his best friend.
What was his name?
I don't know.
The best friend was. Do you have censor words in this? Was screwing the wife.
Yeah.
And for every time he screwed the
He
wife,
made,
he paid 1 million for it.
Yeah.
Like,
He didn't. He was like,
even though this is
I'm also having my fun over here.
yeah. So this is what we're gonna do.
like
Let
he
me
knew
show
it
you.
and he was like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And he stole the money from the company.
Yeah.
It's just like when
For
this
every-
guy put 1 + 1 and he was like, it's just like, so
Yeah.
3 million.
He
But what were you doing with my wife? And how many times?
Yes. Like how
You do
now
the
you
math.
understand.
Yeah. To talk about
Because everyone
it.
was
Are you sure
asking.
this is a conversation?
Everyone was asking why 3 million and you're a rich guy.
Because even the best friend said, like, he ended up asking him for forgiveness. Yeah.
Yeah.
No
But it makes sense
comments.
because even him, he knew, like, hapo enyewe, I'm the one who fucked up.
Yeah.
Nilipita na mtu wako. You know what? Fine, I'm sorry. Next time, maybe, because at that point, it was a bit too late because he'd escalated it to the FBI. But now, after putting 1 + 1,
I can understand.
yeah, he knew, like, enyewe, okay, hapo.
I'm paying for this.
Yeah, ni mimi hapo,
Wow.
nimekubali.
Psychopathic tendencies.
And at least there's a line that what's her name again?
Claire.
Claire says, at least I was expensive because a million.
I mean, yeah.
A million a pop is not kidogo money.
Yeah, it wasn't kidogo. It was
But the fact that it did not rattle him as much is really also like questioning. There's a question mark there that didn't rattle him. Maybe because to him, in his sick mind, because he's a sick man, he was like, I'm doing worse.
No, I don't think
Probably.
he cared that Claire
Or
was
he really
cheating.
didn't care.
I don't think he was shocked even because everybody knew Claire was way over his league.
Yeah.
Like where I think even him, he was just like,
It's just
I'm
some
happy
odd
to
guy.
be here. And then the only reason that she did get him is because they met at the point where she was such a shell of herself. She was so vulnerable, and he was like a pillar of strength. Like this person was there offering solutions because everybody that Claire needed at the point, which was her mom, her sister, her dad, everybody was not available, and this person came at the right time and knew exactly what to say and how to employ.
Do you think, based on how the story was rolled out, probably he may or may not have had a part in making sure that Claire was that vulnerable? Maybe he did like this babe, I don't know, in some twisted way, and he made sure that this she becomes really vulnerable. Like he knew Lydia cannot. Lydia is not the babe. Lydia was just a drug addict. That's not the babe, right?
No, but even in the book, it was explained in a point where Claire was the prettiest one. She was the top of the mountain.
Yeah, considering she actually visited, is it Lydia or Julia in campus? There's a time she visited one of the sisters in campus.
Yeah, she visited
and
Lydia. So he had already taken note of Lydia, and he tried to save her from using the drugs or something. But he'd taken interest in Lydia. But Lydia was not doing what he wanted Lydia to do.
Yeah, Lydia wasn't easy to control.
Yeah. So now when she visited, came, he was like, now I've spotted, I still have access. And then now that is when.
Yeah. Because for Claire, it was more nerd versus popular guy. Popular girl, sorry. And this, she was like super popular, super pretty, super skinny, yet everything that he knew, nobody would expect him to get.
Yeah, and also he continuously says, there's a place he actually says that he liked Claire because every move she made, he didn't know how she was thinking, because she's not a talkative person, she's not. So he liked that every time she will come up with something that he totally did not expect, that hooked him. And that's why probably she also never ended up as a target, because he didn't know.
No, deep down in his screwed up mind, he did love her.
He did love her for sure. But then he also said that she's a surprise to me. I don't know what she thinks next. So I don't know how she was going to behave.
Was it really his first skill?
I think so.
Probably.
Yeah, because I think that is why he just needed to be close to that family. He just needed somehow to get into that family. That is how now.
Do you think he needed the validation or something? What was it he was looking for?
I feel like also the fact that he had the savior complex.
Yeah, he had the savior complex. Yeah. He really loved Claire, and the fact that nobody expected him to get a babe like Claire.
Yeah.
So that is something he wasn't going to let go, because he wanted to rub it in everybody's faces. The dad, the moms, Lydia, like, yes, I'm the one who's with this babe.
Yeah.
Like, yes, she's cheating, but I'm still the one who's with this babe. Because she's just stellar status. Like, this babe is just on another level, and I'm the one who got her. I'm the one who's marrying her. Because even the marriage was like quick. I think 2 months or something in, they were getting married. Like, he treated her well. Even like by the time she's discovering everything, like, he punched her, but he didn't hurt her. He didn't kidnap her. In his sick mind,
he's still taking care of her.
Yeah. And then he was like, deny. Even by the time she's finding out everything, he's in his mind, he still had the hope, like, but we're gonna find out the truth, and we're gonna run away together, because his mind was just twisted. And even if Julia wasn't like his first, I feel like the person after Julia was his first independent kill, where he did it by himself. But I think he was just super sadistic, because he got more turned on when the women that he kidnapped were more in pain, more afraid. That is, I think it was just like a power dynamic. It's like, I'm so superior, you're so inferior. I have the control. Mercy. Yeah, I'm the one who decides how this is gonna go. Because he was just super sadistic. Like the branding, where they use that thing that they do for like cows and stuff, and like brand.
So classic of a psychopath, though.
And the fact that he was able to balance it out, because up until that point, Claire just never suspected anything.
And everything was so clear. Like, I mean, he never even hid anything. You know, that's the most interesting.
Yeah.
Everything was in plain sight.
But she trusted him so much.
Yeah, that's the thing.
One thing that also
Like,
intrigued me was how the passwords were so easy to find.
But it was easy to find because she had lived with him.
Exactly. Like,
Because
it was so like he was living his life. You understand? Like,
but it's because until that point, why on earth would she go and look at his laptop?
Exactly.
You know,
She's been
there's no
given
reason.
everything,
Yeah. Because she has her own laptop. You want to watch a movie, you want to. Why would you be looking at his? You know, why would you be interested? He provides his presence. He's there.
100%.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he loves you.
He's always in your case.
There was no reason for her to
there was
him.
absolutely no reason for her to doubt. Even the family, he interacted with the family and everything. They'd already decided that clearly the rift between her and the sister Lydia was just like permanent. But this person was just like on the side, he's a stalker because he'd been stalking the sister like all this time.
Oh my God. With the other babes,
he'd been stalking her life, like finding out, like he knew she had a daughter, he knew where she
the whole
lived,
thing.
he knew everything about
Checking
her.
on them on the same day.
Really? And it's like on the anniversary, he was stalking them on the anniversary of their rape or anniversary of their kill. It's like, what is wrong with you? Like, you have to have such a deep seated problem to just keep doing that.
I've always
because the things you grow up seeing, you're told they're normal, so you do not imagine they're not normal. Also, for him, he was validated because people are buying these films, so it's like this is normal. So it's so crazy that you don't see that it's twisted.
And even worse, it's that when they discovered everything, it's that it's not just. Like, you know, there's a masked man in Russia, there's a masked man, I don't know, in other continents. Like there's all these people, and he went through so much risk just to get like his client list. And again, I think this is just another reason of where people feel, or rather the family felt like the system has failed us because we did what we were supposed to do. We reported, but the head police or detective is also in this ring. They know exactly. They know exactly what happened to my daughter.
He participated.
He participated and took a photo smiling.
My Lord.
And the parents over here crying on a daily basis. The father is over here breaking his back and his neck, trying to investigate on his own. And every time he takes things, it's just shut down. And especially when it's shut down to, she's just a girl. Like she's probably just took off, but she'll be back, and you know it in your gut that no, that's not what happened.
Not who she is.
And this person who's paid to work for you, like essentially that's the work of the police. You're supposed to serve the people. They're lying to your face, and they know exactly what happened to your child. They know that your child died. Because for this particular family, like even like the duration of their marriage was 18 years, but like the sister had disappeared longer. So during this whole period, they'd never had the closure. Them and several other families to know like what happens to their child. So it's just over there, it's hanging. Are they alive? Are they not?
There's this thing where I constantly ask myself, like, is the human being just do we all, that's the question, do we all have a level where we can be psychopathic? Or not even psychopathic, like just not bad people, killers maybe? Because you see how Claire switched on the day she actually killed Paul. She looked like she was present killing this man, and she's like, I'm doing this for my family. It just takes like a switch to make you turn into something that you probably are not. And probably we don't know what happened to Paul, that he can turn to be this kind of animal. Is it because he saw his father doing it? Is it?
But I don't think you can even compare the two, to be honest.
I'm not comparing. I'm just saying, like, in terms of flipping a switch, because I don't think we are inherently born to be bad people. something must have switched somewhere at one point in Paul's life, whether he was when he was a child, or I don't know, some place. And I'm not comparing, and I'm not justifying that he's a psychopathic person, very crazy. No, I'm just saying, like, I was trying to show how someone can flip, like the switch can flip, like you can kill someone in an instant because of rage, because of something that was done to you. Someone, I don't know.
I feel it's very possible because you operate from a place of heart.
Anger, or in heart.
Yeah. So at that point, the only thing you're thinking is this person needs to revenge. Yeah. And I think it's very easy. It's very possible because
it's possible.
For me, I always say revenge is better
served cold.
Yeah, better served cold. Punishment for these things like that needs to be punished appropriately.
In that particular,
if you rape someone, you need to experience that
situation.
It needs to be slow and painful.
Makes sense. And in Claire's case, it's very different with Paul's case because Claire's, it was more, as you said, avenging, but also because of so many things that you've done.
Of course.
Paul's case is more targeted, where it's a power dynamic, where he absolutely didn't have to do that. And even if you've done it the first time, maybe because you've been forced by your dad, you've been doing this for years, for 20 years
by choice.
Nobody had a gun to your head. This is something, and this is something that for Paul.
For Paul, because you see, that's how he was introduced to this thing. And then there's things that I feel if you haven't experienced it, you don't know how it feels. Now when you experience it, it's so good that nothing below it feels any good. So now you constantly chase something higher. Now you see his base level is twisted. So now it's all that he knows. So I feel like that is why he kept going, because he already had a loving wife who was willing to do anything that he wanted, but he still had to go back to those things because his base level.
That's what I'm saying. In a particular situation for Paul, as opposed to Claire, it's a matter of nobody's going to come to stop you. You have to stop yourself. Because for you to get your high, you're hurting like significantly many other people, and he enjoyed it. Like for Claire, it was something that she had to call herself, like it's something that she had to heal from and remember. Even the sisters, like, this is what you've done, you kill somebody. For Paul, he actively seeked out victims over and over again.
And we're not refuting that. I was just like trying to show how it's easy to flip. It's very easy to flip, even for him. We're not comparing per se, but it can't, of course, it's not the same situation. For Paul is the choice.
Yeah, that's my point. Paul is a choice that he does.
The high for him is that,
and then he dragged out the skills. For Paul, it wasn't where he comes and
just like you.
He dragged out her. He raped these women using like machetes and stuff. He made sure he had this thing on video. He took time to edit the video.
Rewatch.
He smiled at the videos during the entrance. Like he made like an introductory part where he smiled. He laid out his tools. He had like a catchphrase that he would always say. Even to take it back, he had to seek out this victim. He had to capture you. He had to have that fear. He got turned on by the fear. So this is something that he's nurturing.
Enjoying.
He's nurturing this skill. He's enjoying it. He's taking his time. He's in his schedule. He's putting out time to between 4 and 6. I need to go and find a new victim. Like this is something that's calculated. It's super, super calculated. Even if you were introduced to something that you have to take yourself out of because the dad died. But by the time the dad introduced him to, it wasn't like a business venture as what Paul did. What Paul added is the brilliance of his mind, because he had a brilliant mind. He was smart. He was a tech guy, and he used all these skills not to do anything better in the world, but to just create this videos, because he could have hired somebody, or like in that movie he knew somebody, but no, he decided that he will be the main character in these films. He will make sure to rape all these women. He felt nothing,
and he would have kept escalating, because to him this is
it's not a big
it's not normal, but to him and his community it's normal. So to him, this is what you guys are seeing it as it. So to him, it's this is what I'm used to. This is how, because he got 18 years from when, I think that was his first experience, probably, with sex and everything. And for that to be your introduction to it, are you already...
No, that wasn't his introduction, but it was his introduction to killing. Like he'd been with other people, just not to that degree.
Yeah.
That's why Claire was such a... Because Claire wasn't his type of... Claire babe wouldn't gravitate towards him if she didn't have all these issues. If she was just okay living her best, Claire would have never looked, and that's one of the things that the parents said, she would have never looked twice at this guy. So for him, it was, like he's gotten like the babe.
Yeah, maybe there are attributes to her, like her not being very self-aware and secure in herself, that he experienced in his victims. So a part of that he's getting from Claire, and I feel like that is why he was able to stay with her that long, because he has some power over her at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's because like she really leaned on him, and I don't think in any way whatsoever he would have left her, because that would have meant like he'd reached the peak. That would have meant like accepting, what do you mean I'm leaving this babe? And then also I think just the knowing how he controlled the whole family in the background. Like, you don't know how your dad died, but I do. You don't know why you don't talk to your sister, but I do. You know,
he has the power here.
Yeah.
And also considering that he did not necessarily say where Julia was, they just figured it out. I mean, Claire just figured it out based on the photo. Is it a photo or
the
thing she drew?
Yeah.
The fact that he still held on to that information still shows that he did not have any remorse whatsoever.
Yeah, he didn't.
He was not there. Yeah. So even when he was begging for, don't do this, I love you, nini, he wasn't doing, I don't think he was doing it for her. I don't know what exactly. It was just for sure. I don't know what it was, by the way.
Just for him, survival.
For survival. Yeah.
No, I feel like if Claire was still in her Delulu mind,
she would have.
They would have gone together. No, but he really exceptionally loves her.
Yes, he does.
In his twisted way.
Yes.
Had she been like, let's go, babe, he would have been like, let's go. And maybe now for him, he would have been a bit more free with his extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have felt the need to hide so much. But he was like,
whatever.
But remorse, I don't think he had remorse, because there's a point where Claire said she broke down and told him everything about Julia's disappearance, how she felt, how like nobody was there for her and everything. And this guy was there comforting her, telling her it's going to be okay. Like when she had to observe like her birthday and all these things. And the fact that this guy actually actively wanted to have kids, but it's Claire who did not want to have kids because of what she went through. So she took precautions without even telling him. But this guy in his twisted mind felt like he wanted to have his mini-me's, and of course he would have done the same thing that his dad did to him, and like continue this legacy of killing and branding people.
It would have been interesting to see him as a dad for a girl dad. Him as a dad to a daughter. That would have been very interesting to see.
I don't think he would have seen gender, to be honest. I feel like he would have just treated his daughter as he would a son.
Really?
I don't think
how would that, because he spent time feeling power over women. So for him to have a daughter, how does he translate that to now the woman having power over the victims?
Yeah, you can still do it.
Actually, yeah, you can.
You can still do. I think he would have just either made her like super strong and turn her against men, or just steal. This
Make
Or
her
just
feel
do like
better than
errands
most
or
women.
whatever.
Yeah.
or make her feel like I wanted a son. So now the daughter would have
could go
always done
anyway,
that thing
actually, yes.
Trying to
prove herself. Okay, now I'm a daughter, but how can I, like redeem myself?
Yeah.
Because in his twisted way, this guy is perfection.
Yeah.
Right.
So you guys, how did you think the topic related to the book? Because for me, I know Pretty Girls is the girls that were killed. That's how I saw it.
For me, I saw the Pretty Girls were the daughters, the three daughters. Yeah.
I also was wondering what's the obsession with Julia specifically? Because even above all of these girls, whether or not there was a graveyard somewhere, Julia was the.
No,
It was his first experience. I feel like
maybe that was
why.
the okay.
Yeah.
No, I think the obsession with Julia is because we were with Julia's family. I don't think Julia was his first kill.
No, I'm asking what was the obsession?
He
because
was obsessed with the family.
Yes,
that is why
he's totally
he
obsessed with
and
this.
injected himself into the
Because
family.
out of all these babes, even if Nasema psychopaths already, they have a graveyard somewhere, for example, I would say, where they hide or they bury the bodies, right? But out of all of these places that we are assuming that the babes, all the other babes who were killed were thrown or buried, Julia was the only one in the well. So I think throughout the book, I was wondering, why is Julia the most talked about babe? And at the end, I still wondered when I was completing the book, even if the book was great and whatnot, I had just wondered, I don't know what the obsession was about. Yes, they are psychopaths. Yes, they're doing this to multiple babes. Yes, they're gonna bury them. But why was Julia the only one in the well? There is no mention of any other person in the well. When they went to remove the body, because of course the authorities were called, there was no mention of, yes, other bodies were found. So we could now just conclude that it was just Julia in the well because of that kind of evidence. So when I was completing the book, I was like, why her? Why this family? And that's exactly what even the mom was asking the parents. Why? In fact, even the dad was like, why my family? Why Julia?
Well, actually, I've remembered why it was the first kill, because the dad started as peeping Tom. That's what he used to do.
Yeah.
Until finally he picked this girl.
Yeah.
The girl happened to be Julia. And now that is when now they did what they had been thinking about. So now for this to be your first kill, you hold
some significance.
Yeah, it's it means a lot to you, so you want to keep. I think that is why he wanted to see what effect that had to the family. That's why he wanted to stay with the family.
It's a trophy,
like
for
that
them.
power thing. Yeah, constant reminder of
because
how
the
much
power thing was
you have
throughout.
Yeah,
and I think they treated every case differently, because there's the one where they actually, after all the torture and everything, and the daughter was branded, they give back the body, because during the press conference the parents mentioned, and she was branded like an animal.
Yeah.
So this is what they put 1+1, and they were like, oh, so because this was just after Lydia and Claire had watched one of these videos. There's we saw this and this is happening in real life. So that was something else, that these are not just movies, because the very first time, again, the system failing, the very first time she saw this and immediately went to report, they're like, no, these are just movies and everything. So you also start questioning yourself. You're like, okay, maybe not. And she was really just trying to firmly assist. So I think I'd say one of the biggest takeaways for this book and many psychological thrillers is it just gets you thinking of, sometimes you really need to stay vigilant, because who can you trust and who can you not? And sometimes it's the people that you think want the best for you that don't. And sometimes your sister, in her case, her sister tried to warn her about this guy, and she didn't see it because her sister was sort of from a vulnerable point, because she was a junkie and
Doing
everything.
drugs,
So they didn't trust her word where she says, this person tried to rape me, this person is not good for you. So I think it just boils down to who do you trust, whose word, like regardless of their circumstance, would you trust this person is telling me the truth and they want the best for me, and you won't question it. Because even again, back to like the system, it's like this one is corrupt, like Huckleberry, clearly, but who is not? Who do I trust? Who do I not? Who has my best interest at heart? Are these people trustworthy? Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway. Yours?
I'll tie this and the other book that we discussed in the previous episode, the Mindfuck series. Always choose the beer. Because men, the things that men are doing out here.
Crazy stuff.
And it's to women and also to other men. It's crazy. So I don't know, man.
Stay vigilant.
Stay vigilant. You don't know who to trust, and just like you said, there's no way of knowing. Because even in other things that we've read, like and seen it, I know these things are fiction, but they're drawn from real life.
Yeah.
So like the Twitter swindler, you see such stories, like the people who are so good to you turn out to be the worst kinds of people. So I don't know, they say the good guys finish last, but also the good guys kidogo wanachomewa. So I don't know, I just omba Mungu maombi ya mzazi kuweke
because it's hard.
It's so hard.
I don't know what to say about this book, honestly, about takeaways, because everything I thought I knew about choosing the right person was put to test here, because Paul was the most ideal. I would never have known, if I was Claire, I would never have known. Based on her, if she was to say anything, she chose right in her head. Yes. The guy ticked all boxes. He's a good guy. He's providing.
Or was he in terms of option?
No. Like in terms of, at this moment in time, I need this kind of a person. He ticks the boxes of he's understanding me. He gets me. He's here. Okay. So I'm gonna go and with the wind with him, Ivo. But I don't know what I would take from it, because he just turned out to be the devil himself. Shetani mwenyewe tu kwenye msalaba.
But if you think about it, was it really like the best option? Because
it was never the best option, of course.
She did ignore, especially like her sisters. She never
she ignored even the parents. And so there's also this thing of parents, because I'm also like struggling even like in my normal life also with parents saying, no, we think that this particular situation is not good for you. And for you, you're like, no, me, I've already seen, I know what works for me right now. But most often than not, I think the elder ones see things that we cannot necessarily see, which you could argue, but in my like lifestyle, I would think maybe listen to people around you, because also in your head you're like, me, I like this person, me, I like this guy, I don't want to see anything else you guys are seeing, but them, they can see things that you probably cannot be seeing at that moment, because your brain is blinded by love, is blinded by need, by want. You want to be seen and whatnot. So I think what I could take away from here, which I take very bitterly, but is something I also want to consider in my life, is probably listen to people. Listen to your parents, listen to your friends, listen to your people who are around your circle. They could actually be seeing things. Even your friends can see. Your friend will tell you, that dude, you can't see that he's like this, like this side, Yeah, so that's my biggest takeaway, if I would apply it in my like normal life, day-to-day life.
Yeah, I think 100% agree. For friends, I'll say, depending on how your
relationship
associate, exactly, depending on your relationship with that particular friend. Also I feel like with everybody that you're listening to, it should be a conversation where I understand where you're coming from. Because you can tell me, you don't want this person, but why don't you want this person? Maybe your reason isn't as heavy a reason for me to actually listen. But it's very important to listen to people, especially your close circle who have your best interest at heart, but also trust your intuition. I feel like that's something else, because if you really look at it, there's so many things that Claire did catch that, yeah, okay, maybe this
Is a red flag.
this, yeah, especially just changing character. If being that they'd been together for so long, this was off. This isn't a Paul thing. This and this and this. And yeah, feel free to question, because sometimes you never know. Like, you don't want to be sleeping next to the enemy. Nobody does. So yeah. Stay vigilant. Fungua macho. Yeah, that is all for now. Let us know, you guys, what do you think? Have you read the book? 100% recommend. Do check the trigger warnings, but yeah, it's like a great book. It's written so well. The flow is amazing. The suspense is great. Yeah, Paul's, but yeah, at the end of the day, pretty girls.
I mean, there's that phrase at the beginning of the book. What does it say? Particularly beautiful woman is a source of terror. Carl Jung. That's it. Yes, a source of terror. You can see how that ended for pretty girls in that book. Yeah, that's all.
This one for you. All right. See you in the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to comment and subscribe and share. Bye.